Hello and welcome to Be Indie Now, a podcast about independent game development. I'm your host, Tobiah Marks, and with me today is Lane Gresham. Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, pretty good.
So, Lane, why do you make games?
Well, for me, it's kind of been the very beginning phase, basically. I'm actually making games on the side, basically, right after work, basically. This is kind of the very beginning phase of what me and my brother have kind of started.
What's your day job?
Basically, I kind of, say again?
What's your day job? What do you do when you're not making games?
I'm a software developer. I do construction software. It's kind of more data enter kind of stuff, just kind of basic, your everyday .NET developer.
Mm-hmm. So,
Yep, and basically on my time off, I basically have been just kind of doing games. That's kind of where I started. Like at the very beginning when I was little, that's kind of what I wanted to do was actually jump into video games.
But was it just that you had more work opportunities not in games, or did you always kind of take it as like more of a hobby thing?
It was more of a hobby. I kind of started right when I first wanted to make games was kind of when I was little, and we got our first 486, and I think the first game I played was like some of the King's Quest games. It was kind of some really old school stuff, and that's kind of where I got my interest level. And then after that, I kind of went through college, and even my senior project stuff, I was kind of doing game development there. But that was kind of way back in the day when you kind of had to do a lot of stuff from scratch. And ever since then, I've just been kind of having regular software jobs, and on the time of with my time off and stuff like that, I basically do games on the side, and that's kind of where I'm trying to kind of get my foot in the door. And for the most part, when me and my brother ended up getting our first game out there, basically using Unity, that was kind of where basically I'm very interested in this and just in this area, basically.
When was that? What year was it?
Well, for this first game, this was this year, actually, only a few months ago, actually.
Now is a great time to start.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
as you can tell with Unity, the tools
big.
are so nice to use now.
Yeah. And this is actually, like, I don't know, to back up a little bit, I graduated in 2008, and my senior project was, I'm trying to remember when I did my senior project. I think it was actually 2007, but this was when I didn't use Unity at all, and I was doing it kind of from scratch in like DirectX, and I think it was like unmanaged, like C plus C# or something like that.
Oh man, that is hard. That's definitely a senior project type material. It's good stuff. It shows off technical prowess, but that's hard stuff. I don't know if real companies want to necessarily invest in that.
Yeah, exactly. Like that was actually my first experience trying to make a game, was doing that. And oh God, that was just, it was terrible. And basically Unity, when I jumped into that stuff, oh man, it was just way more, I mean, it was kind of what I dreamed of making games and how easy it is to do that.
Are you more interested in the software development angle or also like the design angle?
For me, I'm kind of more hands-on with everything. Like for this game that we worked on, basically me and my brother are basically the co-founders of the company, but basically my brother would do all the art stuff, and he would give me basically just Photoshop files, and I would just go from there, making this game out. And pretty much, I like to do everything in Unity, basically. I don't like to stick into one area.
Have you worked with your brother before, or is this the first time you worked on a project together?
This is the first time. My brother has been, he's been in a lot of schools for a lot of art stuff. Like he was in a few schools in San Francisco and the California area. And basically, like, I don't know, at the beginning of, I'm trying to remember, I think it was just basically at the beginning of this year, we were like, you know what, like, I know coding, you know how to, you're definitely a good drawer and stuff. Let's just go for it and try to pump something out that's simple and fun, And
how's it like working with family though? Because once you get like those troubles, doesn't it get really hard if you're mad with your brother, and then you have to see each other at family dinners and Thanksgivings, and you're like, ah.
Well, we haven't gotten to that point yet. I'm sure we'll hit a wall at one point or another, but actually it's been great. Like I don't know, we're pretty good at reading each other, to be honest. Like he's like, if I'm asking for what I want with the Flats project, like we kind of read each other's minds, and he would supply me with kind of like what the assets I needed, and it worked great. So I'm pretty excited about kind of like what we were going to do next if we actually had the time to do it.
Yeah, I really appreciate those family teams. It's hard to find like family members who you can work with, or I should say, it's hard to find people who have teams of people who are related to them and they work really well together. They tend to either like stick really easily and it's smooth and it's not a problem, or it like comes to a head and it becomes like this really hard sticking point just because you spend so much time with the person. Same thing if you say like went into business with your significant other. It can be like both awesome and sucky depending on how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's been great. Like I love doing it so far, and I just can't wait to get on the next project.
Well, tell me a little bit about the first project. What was the game exactly?
Well, the first game was basically we came up with it's just an endless runner game where you basically just kind of survive until you're dead. Basically, there's a lot of different genres of those out there. Basically, we kind of thought let's find something let's do something good, but let's keep it very simple. Like I didn't want, like, there was a lot of like talk of, hey, we could get all these powers into it and different things that we could kind of do, but I just kind of kept it simple of seeing if we can actually just get a project done and then go from there if we want to update later. But the first game was basically you're just a bubble and you're kind of going through just an endless level and until you basically just die.
It get a lot of downloads. Did it not get any downloads? What was the reception of it?
The reception at first was good. It's okay. The hardest part I definitely see is trying to actually get it recognized. Like at the beginning when we launched it on, I'm trying to think of how many different things we did. I put it out on the Windows Store, Windows Phone, iOS, Android. I even have it on like Facebook, which was, I wanted to try that to see what kind of
It's
things.
It's a good strategy. Get it out on a bunch of different platforms, and Unity makes that not press one button and it's all done, but pretty easy relatively.
Yeah. The transition was pretty good between all different platforms. I think mainly because I don't really have too many plugins for my game. That's one thing I've kind of
that helps with the compatibility because the base version works pretty solid. It's just when you get those plugins and weird conflicts start arising.
Yeah, exactly. Like one thing I do want to get later down the road is kind of monetizing my app a little bit more. We didn't really have any different plugins for that kind of stuff just because that's when you have to actually kind of start splitting and doing kind of separate programming for each platform. But for the most part, we just basically did it simple so that I could just have one build basically and spread it out amongst those platforms basically. And then I also have it on PC and Mac, but I'm still trying to kind of figure out how to get those actually out there. I have it on the Steam Greenlight, but it hasn't gotten too much activity on that.
Have you done that with just your latest game or all your projects?
I actually do have I did have another project that was just that was kind of a beginning project that I just did. It was kind of a somewhat of an Oculus Rift app that I kind of did out there. And that was called Glass Source. It was just like a simple, you're out in space and like you would pick like a folder on your computer and you could basically watch all of your pictures get floated around in space. It was kind of cool. It actually looked kind of cool with the Oculus Rift, and that was kind of another thing that was nice with the Unity and how easy it was to plug that in.
Interesting. Yeah, that'll get more and more popular once people get kits in their hand. I haven't gotten an Oculus yet, but I can't wait, especially with the new generation coming in. There's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I like it for that. Like that's a whole another area too that I'm really interested in. Like I think that's going to take off quite significantly because I did have the first kit, and I have the I think the Dev Kit 2 that's coming out. I'm hoping to be in the next shipment here, or I think they're actually putting out the first shipment of the Dev Kit 2s next week. But I'm hoping to be in that thing. But I think that's going to be pretty interesting to see where that goes.
So was that your second project? You had that Endless Runner as your first one, and then you did this like Oculus visual image thing as your second? Or was there a different one?
I guess the Bubble Inferno was our first game. Okay. And then this Oculus thing was actually an older project of mine that I did. It was just me that ended up doing it. My brother was, at the time, wasn't really working with me on this. This was just kind of more of another side project. Another thing, too, is I had I guess the beginning phase of when I started messing around with Unity was I actually had some, what do you call it, the asset store content out there too. That was kind of actually the beginning phase of me learning how to use Unity and stuff like that I put out there.
So you like made some stuff in Unity and then put it up online for other people to download?
Yep.
Are you selling it or just having it for free?
I'm selling it actually. Actually, I have. Let me see here. I'm trying to remember what it was. Okay, so
that's great that you start with that. A lot of developers don't think about, I put all of this effort into these tools, and then they just sit on their hard drives. And it's like you can put that on the store, and that's more revenue for you.
Yeah, if you can think of something that people actually really would need, it's surprising actually how well it does out there. My first one that I had out there, actually, it still sells. I mean, it's actually pretty good. And I think it's still on the top of actually, let me check. I think it's still on the top of the physics side of the scripting side. Yeah, actually it is. But it's called it's basically like a physics package that you can use for it's almost like, I don't know, you'd have to check it out for yourself. It's kind of a little hard explaining. But it's a really, really good tool for actually getting physics to basically launch things, or you could actually make black holes with them and stuff like that. But there's people have actually liked that quite a bit, and I've been supporting it, and it's fun actually seeing a lot of the people on the forums and stuff ask for things, and I keep adding to it too, which is, I keep thinking that it's done, but then it kind of keeps growing and growing and growing.
Have you found that it's taken away time for developing your own games trying to support this tool?
Kind of at the beginning, yes. When you're first pumping it out, people are wanting all these different things out of it, or asking different questions, and then they kind of introduce new features, which is really cool. And then it kind of just keeps growing and growing and growing. But for the most part, now, I think it's been out. I don't know. It's maybe been out there for maybe a year or so. But now I've kind of gotten to a point where people haven't actually sent me any messages. So I think it's kind of actually in a bulletproof state right now.
It does what it does. It works. People aren't, clamoring for more features or to fix bugs kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's kind of cool too, because I actually use it I've been using it with some of my other side projects that I'm planning on doing.
So, how successful has your tools business been versus your game selling business? I mean, I hate to ask numbers, and I don't want you to.
Oh no, that's fine.
But do you think, are you making more money off of these tools than your game, or is the game still performing better?
Right now, it's my tool is definitely selling a lot better than my game is.
Right now, fascinating.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Well, it is interesting. I do have another tool out there that's pretty good, but there really isn't that much selling on there. I think the reason why this other tool has done so well is because it's been kind of on the top advertising part of it. And it still gets, I don't know, I'm trying to think of how many numbers I probably get a month. I probably sell, I'm trying to think, maybe 10 copies a month, which is 25 on the store. So, I mean, it's not too bad. It's some extra change in your pocket,
Yeah, it's not insignificant versus the amount of time and effort you put into it.
Yeah. I mean, if you do this for a living and you have a lot of these out there, I can definitely see making a lot of money off of it, especially people that can 3D model.
Mm-hmm. How many hours per week do you think you devote towards your business?
You could probably ask my wife. She would probably be more honest. But
ballpark, let me give you a range here. We're talking less than 10 hours a week, over 20 hours a week, over 40 hours a week.
During the time when I was releasing my game, it was pretty much just right after I got done with work until late, Now it's more kind of, I'm thinking maybe 2 hours a day after work and stuff like that. It's definitely hard trying to find the time to actually keep doing it, especially after work. But I love doing it,
Yeah, I've been finding that myself in my role here at Microsoft now, because I was going full-time indie, and then now I have it where I'm working late doing events, and I go home and it's like, I don't want to have to work on another thing for 3 more hours, but it's hard to have that discipline to block out that time. It's like going to the gym, right?
Yeah.
Where you dread the work, and then when you actually sit down and do it, you're like, oh wait, this is super fun. I love doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I've caught myself like in the middle of like playing games, you know, like, I mean, I play a ton of games, like, just way too many, but, I kind of get to that point now, like when I was making my game, that I almost felt like I should be doing that rather than playing games. Like I was like, well, you know what, I could do that, you know, why don't I? So, it is kind of interesting. It's almost turned into, my addiction.
So how long has Bubble Inferno been out now?
Bubble Inferno's been out. Well, it's been out for maybe since let's see here, maybe in the middle of June last month. It was kind of difficult trying to get. I was actually trying to time.
It's mid-July when we're recording this episode now too, because it'll be broadcast in the future.
Okay.
That's not too long at all. It's like less than a month then.
Yeah. I mean, at the beginning phase, it was kind of weird trying to get. I was trying to actually time all of them to come out because I think. I remember when you were actually in Portland, what was it? I can't even remember. It was like the day.
It was in May, I think.
Yeah. I remember you saying that the best time to launch is on a Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I tried timing that, but it was definitely. I think the only one I got out on Thursday was actually no. I think I got the Windows ones out on Thursday.
Well, you can hold for release too. Like you don't have when you do the release, there's a checkbox that's automatically set to say launch this as soon as it's approved. But instead of doing that, you can hold for approval, wait till it's approved, and then, on like Thursday at midnight, just go in there and set it live.
Yeah, I think actually I launched okay on Windows, on the Windows stuff and on the Android, because the Android is just like takes a few hours.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't even check it,
Yeah, exactly. There's no, not even like an automatic check really. It's just like, oh, this is an APK file. Okay.
Yeah. And that's what I like that, because I ended up patching that and it only took like a half hour to put it out there, versus like if you're with like the iOS, it'll take you, Lord knows how long before they get it done. I think that was the slowest one. I was trying to time it for Thursday and it took, I think, like a week and a half, which I hear is even faster than normal.
Yeah, that takes forever. I know like Windows, I think it's like guaranteed 5 days or less. And
Windows,
the phone one's mostly
really
automated, where it's like a couple hours now, but there's still an approval process. There's still, somebody going over and saying, okay, this is right, this is right, this isn't, a virus kind of deal. This isn't just a ROM playing app.
Yeah. They I think were the fastest ones. I think it took like a day and a half or something like that. I did do the phone and the Windows Store, the first ones, I think, but they took probably maybe like 2 days or something like that.
I also think that the more successes you have where your apps are approved and gone to the store, the faster the approval process is, because they know you're like releasing something that's quality, you're updating it, you're doing this. They don't have to like redo every check again in every single version. Whereas if you're releasing stuff that gets rejected all the time, there might be a little bit more scrutiny and it might take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So, what kind of like reviews have you gotten from the game? Is it just that not enough people have been seeing it yet, but people are liking it, or people complaining? What was the result?
It's not. Well, it's also trying to get the people to actually see it. I did have one reviewer guy on there, and I'm trying to remember. I think it was like Grab It. Or here, let me actually check. I think I have it on my website.
Like good review. He's like, oh, go get it.
Yeah. I had it was kind of not really a review, but it was like, hey, this looks really good. Like, or we try it out. It was Grab It Magazine is what it was called. And it seemed like a pretty legit site, and so that was kind of cool. I have it actually on my main page there, linked to it. But that was kind of cool to try to get actually some word out. That's the thing, is just trying to get your foot in the door on people actually recognizing it. So that's actually kind of my next project, is actually trying to figure out how to market it without spending money, which is the hardest part.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, they release and it's like, oh, it didn't take off virally. What do I do now? And that process is very, very slow. It takes a while to build up those players and build up that community. And, you might start off with, not very, very, very few downloads per day, but that doesn't mean that the game is bad or that you need to give up on development or do something drastic. But you also have to be careful about overspending too. That, they can't just buy like a bunch of Facebook ads and then you'll get installs and then it'll be successful, because those ads cost a lot and they are not very cost effective to use. So there are much better ways to market. Buying. Yeah, exactly. You're not sure if it's just some incentivized install, especially on Android, where it's like, oh, I got 10 coin in the game I actually want to play, to go download this, open it once, close it, and never open it again.
Yeah. So it was like, I don't know, what was it? Like right when I pumped it, right when I got my game out, it was actually interesting seeing. I ended up getting like a lot of different I don't remember what they were, but just a lot of different review companies that were like spamming me, basically saying, "Hey, give us money and we'll review your stuff."
Oh yeah, those review sites in quotation marks where it's like, "Oh, we have a big backlog, but if you pay me money, then I'll review your game." And if you just think about it, it's like there's a guy who sits there, he sends emails to every single game developer who releases a game, and then some percentage of them pay him like $50 to just write an article, and that's that person's full-time job.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it wrong? Maybe the guy has ads on his site too. Maybe he's not. I think it's only wrong if the site portrays it differently than this is a paid review. But it's certainly not something I would recommend to any company to do. I can't imagine it being effective at all. So what are you thinking about doing? What's your plan?
Oh, as far as what I'm going to do next?
Yeah, what are you going to try and promote this more? How are you going to try and do that, without breaking the bank? Or are you just like, I have to come up with a plan?
For now, I'm kind of, the hardest part is trying to find the time, especially with a full-time job. If I could somehow work it to where I'm working with this stuff full-time, like working on my projects full-time, then that would be amazing. That's kind of my dream job,
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I'm going to kind of let this ride a little bit just to see where it goes, and then kind of go from there. I think for the most part, it's a very good first experience because it's our first game.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I mean, I have a few different projects here and there, but they're not really like a game. Me and my brother kind of wanted to make something that was easy, fun, and looked good, and the quality was nice. So for the most part, I think we succeeded in actually doing that. I think that the next step is basically just to figure out what we want to do next, or if we want to keep supporting it.
Is your brother also working full time?
Yes, he is. He's actually working for as an art guy for Sony right now. I think.
Oh, cool.
I'm trying to remember what. Yeah, he's working. I think they have a studio in Bend, so he's working there right now. So it is definitely hard to kind of try to figure out, or just the time after work to actually do this stuff. But if we can turn it into something that where we can actually do it full time, that'd be amazing.
Mm-hmm. Who's your target audience for the game?
I guess for us it was kind of more just kind of, I don't know. Have you ever read the comic book Oatmeal?
Yes.
It's kind of like that kind of audience, and then it's for younger people too, I guess. It's just kind of really quirky, kind of wild, and I don't know if the art kind of is interesting, but I guess it's for kind of teens a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, that might help a lot when you're trying to market it, is to say, okay, who's really my demographic here? Because you say, oh, teens, wacky, but I think the Oatmeals probably has a much older readership. I don't actually think it appeals to teens as much as it appeals to late 20s, 30-somethings.
Yeah, I guess the art style is kind of that way. It's not really as crude as the Oatmeal is, but I guess for the most part, I was kind of trying to get younger people, but also older people too at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you want to do everyone. You want to be inclusive. It's not about I need to pick a target audience. I need to make this game hostile to elderly people or something like that. But you have to understand what kind of game, or what do they enjoy? What other games are they playing? What's your competition like? What themes do they like? What are they interested in? You have Robot Unicorn Attack. simple game. It's the cannonball, whatever. But man, it has this theme that's great with the music, and it matches, and it's funny, and it gets shared. So everyone can play that game, and they have players of all ages. But they kind of focused on this one marketing aspect core to the game and its art style, and it helped promote it.
Yeah.
So you already have you said you're working on other side projects. Are you thinking about making like new kinds of games, or you just want to ride this one out for a while?
If we actually, well, we're going to ride this out a little bit, but we're in the process of trying to figure out what we're going to do next, if we're going to do something, and if we have the time.
This time every new one you do is another SKU you have to support, because you don't want to just give up on the old one.
Oh yeah, no, I am not giving up on the old one. If anything, I want to continue to add to it if I can. A lot of basically how the game works is you just try to survive going through it, but I want to add more to it. I want to add like scoreboards and different kinds of power things that you can kind of get, and that is if I can try to get the word out there more. For now, I'm kind of leaving it so that I can actually get some people in there first, and then try to support it if I have the time. And then also, if we do get more time, and if we do have an idea of what the next project is going to be, I kind of want to go with something that's kind of more original with our ideas. Basically, this first project was kind of more, can we do it? Let's pick something simple, fun, and easy, and just do it to see if we can. And now I know we can. So the next idea is let's come up with something that's kind of more original and not kind of, because there is a lot of scroller games out there.
Yeah, so, I was going to ask if it was like I did a scroller game because those are popular and easy, and I just wanted to get something out there, or if you're actually particularly like that genre, you like this kind of game, it's something you wanted to make.
Yeah, like we basically went with kind of a scroller game just because it seemed a little bit easy. Like for me, as a software developer, like scope is a big thing. And all of a sudden you could be like doing a ton of different things, and then it takes up more time, and then it turns into a completely different project. I think that just trying to stay focused on what your goal is, and then making sure that you don't make your goal bigger, is definitely a big thing, because you'll sit there and you'll be working on a huge project, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Makes sense. So if I had a time machine and I could send you back in time for 30 seconds to right as you're starting development on this game, what would you say to yourself?
What would I do different?
Yeah. Well, what advice would you give yourself? Your past self, like, oh man, avoid this, don't do that, keep going this. What would you say?
Well, I think for the most part, that's kind of just how it always is. You always are like, oh man, I should have done it this way, or I should have done it that way. I think for the most part, like for me, making the game, like it works. I mean, it runs really well, but I would like to make the performance better, and I'd like to try to kind of get more object pooling going on rather than kind of creating objects on the fly, and just trying to make things run smoother and stuff like that. So it was like in the back of my mind, like, oh man, I should have done it this way. And you can do that. I mean, when we support it and patch it and stuff like that. But it's always like, you're always thinking you can do better,
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Well, I always like to wrap up the shows talking about games we've been playing lately, not just ones we've been making. For me, I've actually been playing Seafarers of Catan, not any digital version, but actually breaking out the board game. And it's funny because Settlers of Catan is one of my favorite board games, but I barely ever played any of the expansions. And I just decided, you know what, it's my favorite game. I'm going to buy all the expansions and start actually trying them out. And I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? It was so much fun. Do you play much board games?
A little bit here and there. Actually, I haven't played that game, actually.
Yeah, I really like Seafarers. I mean, you probably want to play Settlers first and get used to the rules. But I actually think I prefer playing it with the expansions now, so I'm going to have to try some of the other like half dozen different Settlers of Catan expansions and try them out.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
What have you been playing?
Let's see. What have I been playing? Actually, I was playing Counter-Strike just recently.
Which version of Counter-Strike?
I was trying out the newer one. I don't know, like, for the longest time, I actually haven't played Counter-Strike for I don't know how many years since college, but then I kind of started playing back into it. I was playing a lot of Battlefield, but honestly, I kind of got sick of Battlefield. What was it? The newest ones they have out on is I just got too frustrated with how bad it ran on my computer with just a lot of their performance stuff. I think it was some port issues on their end, but yeah, some Counter-Strike. What else have I been playing? I've been playing some, I don't know, another kind of indie-ish a little bit, but it's Broforce. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of it on. I believe they're on the Humble Store, having some sales there a little recently. All the summer sales have just passed as of recording.
Yeah, and then I also have what do I have that I picked this up at the summer sale. I ended up picking up Wasteland 2, and so I played that for about an hour, but I still need to get back into it.
Sounds like you're pretty into first-person shootery type games.
I'm pretty open to most games. Like I actually, for the most of the time, I actually have been playing a lot of indie games recently. I actually just started playing kind of some Counter-Strike. I don't know, a few days ago.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's good to try out different stuff. Yeah, get that what's in the lexicon, what works. You can kind of mix and match hybrid genres too when you're making your own games. I recommend to all developers that they, don't get into the trap of I don't have time to play games anymore, because they'll be better designers if you have time to play some games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been playing games ever since I was little. Like playing like a lot of the Sierra games at the time. We actually lived in Eugene, and I remember going into there was a Sierra in Eugene. We had a friend that used to work there, and I thought that was actually kind of an inspiring thing for me for making games. Was just that whole environment seemed really, really fun to be in.
Very cool. If you want to find more about the show, you can go to beindynow.com, where we have past episodes, show notes, links, stuff like that. If you want to find out more about me, you can go to my website, which is tobiahmarks.com. I have a blog there, articles, resources, cool stuff like that you can find useful. Where can we find more about Resurgam Studios? It's resurgamstudios.com, right? RESURGAM studios.com.
Yep. And you can also go to bubbleinferno.com, and it'll redirect you there, too.
Cool. You have any Twitter accounts?
Yeah, I have all my stuff actually on Resurgam Studios. You can just click on the About page, and we have all of our YouTube and Twitter and LinkedIn and stuff on there.
Easy to find. Well, thank you very much, Lane, for being on the show and sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. No, it was really cool talking to you.
And for everyone else out there, go out and make some games.